Hello, I'm Evan Maxim with the City of Mercer Island, here to explain the provisions of the residential development standards currently being considered by the Mercer Island City Council. If adopted by the City Council, these regulations will govern both remodels and new construction of single-family homes throughout Mercer Island. The robust real estate market has led to a rapid increase in development in the region, as well as in Mercer Island. We're updating our residential development standards, the zoning rules that new homes need to follow, because the city's current single-family home construction regulations are inadequate to protect our neighborhoods from the effects of development caused by large houses, removal of trees, increased hard surfaces, and long construction periods. Each of the 5 videos in the series summarizes different proposed changes to our regulations currently under consideration by the Mercer Island City Council. In today's video, I will provide an overview of the changing building regulations. The other 4 videos will cover why the residential code is changing, construction impacts and noise, trees, and site design. Today I'm going to highlight the new rules under review by the Council related to the size of single-family homes. The rules are complex and we cannot explain every nuance in this short video. We encourage you to review the regulations to get all of the details, seeing that this video will cover the major high-level changes. In general, there are 3 types of rules that collectively limit the size of a house. These are the height of the building, the amount of land that the building and improvements cover, sometimes referred to as lot coverage, and the gross floor area of the house. The idea behind Council considering changes to these rules is to make new homes feel less bulky and more compatible with the neighborhood. Let's start with building height. Currently, a single-family home is limited to a maximum height of 30 feet from average building elevation. The average building elevation is a technical calculation that represents the surface of the existing ground upon which the home will be placed. The current rules also limit the height of the downhill side of the house to a maximum of 35 feet. Council is not considering changes to the maximum 35 height limit, but they are looking at changes to the calculation for the building elevation and the height of the downhill side of the house. On some lots, the new homes may result in the excavation of a yard around the house. The current average building elevation calculation does not account for this type of excavation. The Council intends to correct the technical calculation to address this issue. Council is also considering a proposal to reduce the height on the downhill side of the house, changing that limit from 35 feet to 30 feet, and again taking into account any excavation on that side of the house. The effect of these changes is that, especially on slope lots, the height of new homes on Mercer Island will be less. Next, let's go over the changes the Council is considering related to the amount of land that's used for a new home and improvements. This standard is known as the lot coverage rule. Generally speaking, the current rule allows 40% of a flat lot to be covered by buildings, driveways, paving, and other improvements. A simple rule of thumb is that if the surface will prevent rain from soaking into the dirt below it, then it's regulated by the lot coverage rule. This kind of surface is typically referred to as an impervious surface. Allowed lot coverage is decreased on slope lots. The current rule contains a number of exceptions to lot coverage limits, which makes it hard for a neighbor to know exactly how much of the lot might be covered. For example, in some circumstances, a property could be entirely covered by a deck and meet the lot coverage rules. The current rules also allow a property owner to request a lot coverage deviation to increase the lot coverage by an additional 5%. The criteria for approving deviations are often unclear, are easily met, and do not appear to make much sense. These exceptions and deviations make it seem like some builders are getting away with building a larger home than they should. The Council is considering a few basic changes to this rule. Council is considering the elimination of the lot coverage deviations and exceptions to the lot coverage standard. Also, the Council is not considering any change to the 40% lot coverage rule. However, there is a proposal to modify the rules to allow an additional 9% of the lot to be used for hardscape areas. Hardscape areas would include things like decks, patios, walkways, and so on. It would not include the house or the driveway. Any area on the lot not used for hardscape or the house and driveway could be maintained as the normal landscape. Finally, let's talk about the changes to the rules that limit gross floor area of the house. Currently, the maximum gross floor area of a house is 45% of the area of the lot the house is located upon. This includes the garage and any detached buildings. Portions of the house that are largely underground are excluded from the gross floor area limit. The city has seen several lots merged together to allow for the construction of very large homes. In some cases, new homes have a gross floor area of more than 20,000 square feet, about a half acre, in a neighborhood with a typical home size of 3,500 square feet. Generally speaking, new construction tends to build a house that's close to the maximum floor area allowed and existing homes often have a significantly smaller floor area. The council is considering a few changes to this rule. First, the council is considering a reduction in the allowed gross floor area from 45% to 40%. Second, the council is considering an overall cap on the allowed gross floor area, which is based on the zoning designation. For example, in the R8.4 zone, the largest home would be limited to a maximum of 5,000 square feet of floor area. Finally, to better address bulky buildings that result from large great rooms and vaulted ceilings, the council's modified the technical calculation of gross floor area. The revision will better take into account great rooms or vaulted ceilings when limiting floor area. To recap, the council is considering changes to the rules around the height, lot coverage, and gross floor area. The proposed changes are intended to better reflect on-the-ground conditions, increase predictability, and to reduce the apparent bulk and size of new single-family homes. If you'd like to learn more about the proposed changes to the residential development standards, you will find more information and the draft regulations on our website at mercergov.org/residential. The City Council will continue to discuss these proposed regulations at 2 upcoming meetings, Tuesday, September 5th, and Tuesday, September 19th, beginning at 7 p.m. at Mercer Island City Hall. Come in person or view online. We anticipate they will take action to enact the code updates at the September 19th meeting, and the new regulations could go into effect as early as late October. Written questions and comments are encouraged by emailing residential@mercergov.org. Thank you again.